Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Well, I was not around on Saturday. I couldn't get to the game. And the only bits I've seen of it, the 3-1 win over Crystal Palace, are the highlights, a couple of minute highlights here and there. I was away at a wedding up in Manchester, and George was also away covering Wales in the football. He was over in Latvia, so just coming back from that. So yeah, weren't really able to talk too much about Palace, but from what I've seen of it, I'll mention Palace and a few other things that are coming up as well. But just quickly on the Palace game, from what I've heard, some fans have messaged me and said that Villa were really dominant and should have been 3-0 up in the first half. Others have told me we got a bit lucky. We could have been 2 down, 3 down. I'm interested to know your opinions. So please put it in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of the Villa win over Crystal Palace. From what I can see, and from what I can deduce, is that Villa should have been ahead in the first half. Ollie Watkins had a really good chance I think he took a bit early. I think he could have taken one more touch and maybe, gained a better angle for himself. But that's the sort of confidence he's in just right now. And I'll talk a bit more about Watkins in a second. There was also a good chance set up by Zaniolo. Fantastic skill out wide, comes inside, sends the ball into Matty Cash, who misses his kick. And then Diaby was very unlucky to be offside. Fantastic ball from Pau Torres. Superb pass. Brilliant touch from Diaby, who is just a world-class player, isn't he? Diaby's one of them players who I always feel that, like pacey players, that sometimes their brains, or rather they move faster than their brain can keep up with. I think I myself used to be like that when I was younger. Pace was my main attribute, but I don't think I was able to keep up with it. So, Diaby, he's got all the pace in the world, but he always seems to make the right decision. He's a serious player, Diaby. I'm surprised that Al Nassr were the only other club in for him, from what we're aware. I'm surprised others weren't as well, because he's a Champions League level player. He really is. But look, that's that. And then second half, the goal for Palace, Torres getting caught. I think it was against Mateta. Sort of outdone, and then it just seemed like Edouard had the freedom of the pitch, really, didn't it? It was a funny bit of defending that from Villa. Martinez slipping, but I'm not even sure that slip made a difference. I think Edouard would have got there first and probably scored. So a weird bit of defending. I think Torres getting caught a little bit there, but Torres ultimately had a fantastic game if we go off the stats. And look, I think Torres, in all of our home games and in the games where Villa are dominant, has been an absolutely fantastic player. His passing is poetic. He passes like a classic Spanish ball-playing defensive player. He looks like he could be a CDM to me. Sometimes it's like a Busquets style, where he's just so good on the ball, retains the ball, and that whipped ball he does into the, bypassing the midfield into the four players is crucial. And I can't help but think that the Tyrone Mings injury has disrupted what Emery might have been planning. I'm interested to see what Emery would have been planning for games away at Newcastle and Liverpool with Mings there. Whereas I think Torres would have been, as we've seen in all these home games, in the games against Hibs as well, Torres was a really dominant ball-playing player, crucial to Villa's attacking play. He's a fantastically talented player. But Villa, the Villa of old, 1-0 down at Crystal Palace. I can't help but think we'd have lost in the past. We'd have had most of the ball, not really done anything with it, not found a breakthrough, but my goodness, didn't Jhon Duran find that breakthrough? What a fantastic goal. I have watched it on repeat for 3 days straight now. I found it on Twitter when I was at the wedding, surrounded by Man United fans who were all in tears about how they were performing this season. And I was giddy, because, Jhon Durán, he got that goal. And as I said about Duran, it always felt like if he can get that goal, it's that moment of believing he belongs at this level, and who knows where he can go to. Well, since then, he's got a superb goal against Hibs at home. Super pass from Pau Torres as well for that one. And then, right back into the acid test of the Premier League. What can he do? Comes on, as a sub again, touch off his chest, and that technique. I mean, I'm not going to do any of the cheesy puns on Jhon Durán that I've been hearing everywhere, so I'm not going to try and do that. But my goodness, I mean, what a goal. What a finish. What natural striker play. 19-year-old does that. Who knows where he can go this season? And, I remember reading it was Johan Lang who pushed through this signing. And I have questioned some of the signings that happened post-Grealish. Some of the wages they were put on. I wonder if it was more Purslow Gerrard. I don't know. We weren't there, to be honest. But if Duran turned, that goal suggests to you this is a serious player, doesn't it? And if Duran turns out to be a superb signing, 19 years of age from Major League Soccer, Colombian player, if he turns out to be a proper striker, then what a signing that is. And fair play to Johan Lang. And they've kept him on at Villa, so there must be something they like about the guy. And I believe he might have been involved with the Moussa Diaby signing as well, but I don't know that for sure. But a fantastic goal. And, Villa under Unai Emery, if you try and defend against us, particularly at Villa Park, we will tear you apart. We did it to Everton. We did it to Hibs, and we will do it. We did it to Palace in those last 10 minutes. I think it was a penalty for the second goal. Douglas Luiz, again, he's turning into the new El Ghazi, and he doesn't miss. Ollie Watkins, great run, fantastic pass from Yuri Tielemans. So I can see why VAR maybe thought it wasn't and maybe needed another look at it, because he does touch the ball, but it just feels like he comes across Watkins and takes Watkins first, then gets the ball. And I think the referee, fair play to him, they get so much criticism, referees, but fair play that, he stood his ground, looked at it and said, you know what, no, I think it is a penalty. And I think it was. And like I said, I can understand Palace fans being frustrated by it, but it's a risky tackle to make at that moment in the game. And I just think he took more of Watkins and then got the ball. So I think it was a penalty, and fair play to the ref and fair play to Douglas Luiz that late in the game, scoring the winner. And then Yuri Tielemans again for the third goal. Super fast pass from Tielemans again. Superb to see that squad depth in it, that he can come on the pitch and make a difference like that. Super pass to Moussa Diaby, who has said, all that pace in the world, gets to it, takes his time, looks up, picks up Leon Bailey, who, the temptation could have been to hit it first time and you'd back him to score. But, he had the awareness to know he had a bit more time, took the touch, it takes it on his stronger left foot. So a brilliant end to the game, super ball. And, brilliant to see Leon Bailey getting these goals and assists this early in the season. A player who we've questioned before, is he ever going to find that consistency? And to be honest, at home at the moment, I think it's linked to Diaby being there. He's working well with Diaby, as Matty Cash did at Burnley away as well. So at home, Bailey's looking like a really effective player at the moment, which is fantastic to see. And also, credit to Leon Bailey, because, Jhon Duran understandably celebrates such an amazing goal. His first one in front of the Holt end, goes mad. And Bailey lets him celebrate, then grabs hold of him and says, do you know what, mate? Come on, let's go get the winner now. And, Bailey's, awareness, his experience to be like, come on, look, let's go get the winner, to want to get that winner. Fantastic. So brilliant to see them come back. But as I say, I didn't see a lot of the game. I've only really been able to go off the highlights. So do let me know what you thought about it. Now, a question that's come out of it is about Ollie Watkins. He's not been scoring much recently after that amazing run he went on towards the end of last season. My personal view on Watkins is I love having him at Aston Villa. I have always defended Watkins because I think what he contributes off the ball makes up for it when he's not scoring. Yes, it's frustrating that he's a bit of a streaky player. It's frustrating that, when he's low on confidence, it can look like it's in his head a bit, and he can, snatch at chances, or he can, his first touch can be a bit off. But I think that the movement he makes and the assists he gets and the work he does for the team is so crucial that there's a reason he plays all the time, because he's a quality striker. He's all round as a striker. He's great, and when he starts scoring, he scores tons, doesn't he? And I still, I think he should aim for 20 goals in the Premier League this season. He's leaving it late to get started, but I still think he can get there. It's just needs a goal, doesn't he? Which hopefully will come quite soon. And if he keeps getting in the positions to take chances, the goal will come, just like it did for Erling Haaland. Haaland missed a lot of chances at West Ham the other day. I saw the highlights of that. Eventually, the goal came, and Watkins. He had a good chance against Burnley, well saved. Should have scored against Palace, I think. Maybe just snatched. Took it a bit too early. A couple of other occasions, I think he might have been unlucky not to score. Newcastle, he did well to work a chance, and it was a good save from Pope, which Cash should have scored after. So Watkins' goal will come. I understand that the frustrations are there, that he's maybe a little bit streakier than we'd like, but who are Villa going to sign as a striker who's better than Ollie Watkins? There's not many out there, are there? Who knows? Duran might develop into a top world-class striker. That goal certainly suggests that he's got the ability to be a top striker. But for now, Watkins I love Watkins. I think we'll all look back on his time at Villa as one of real pleasure. I think he's been a great servant to Villa, and I think he'll continue to be that for the rest of the season. Just needs a goal to get him going in that respect. Legia, Warsaw, and Chelsea next. Now, Warsaw away. What an experience. One that I don't think, look, we've got a lot of international players, a lot of players who are used to tough atmospheres. But that Thursday night away in Europe with a really partisan crowd, with the flares and all that, an opponent who's going to be really up for it because I want to beat a Premier League team. Now that the Premier League, it is the wealthiest in the world. It's probably the most famous in the world. Is it the highest quality in the world? I think La Liga probably still has something to say about that. But the best teams, it's hard to argue that they're in the Premier League now, aren't they? And on the whole, and I think Warsaw will be very, very up for it. The fans will be very up for it. And it'll be a tough night for Villa. But the way we've got to do it is we've just got to outplay them. Unai Emery has all the experience in the world of Europe, and our players have the international experience on the whole. Some of them have that European experience as well, like, Moussa Diaby. Boubacar Kamara has it. So it's not something they won't be used to. It's just as a collective, as a Villa collective, we won't be used to it. So big experience, big day. And I think the way Villa have to do it is just outplay them, like we did when we went to Hibs. Obviously, Warsaw are a better team than Hibs. But like when we went to Burnley, you went there and we just outplayed them, didn't we? We were the better footballing team. And I think it's going to be in the centre that Villa have to win it because, top quality players like Douglas Luiz, Boubacar Kamara, you've got Yuri Tielemans who could come in. If those players can just dominate in that area, I think then we can, if we can bring the attackers into it, we have the players to really do them damage. But of course, they're a threatening team, so we just have to wait and see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. Can't wait just to see Villa in Europe. It's Villa playing in midweek. It's awesome. Now the Chelsea game, I'm fascinated by really because we've lost. But we've won a lot. We've won big this season against teams you'd hope we'd beat. But we've lost big against teams you'd hope we'd do better as well. The 5-1 at Newcastle. And then we were really outplayed by Liverpool, whose pressing structure was fantastic. They really, really caused us problems playing out from the back, Liverpool. And I said after that, when I spoke to Dan Rowlinson on Claret and Blue and on this podcast, I said, the Chelsea game's one to watch because that's a team that they're ahead. They're going to be wanting to get in Champions League. It's at their grounds, and they've got some top attacking players to do us damage. How does our defence cope in that environment? Against a team that's got a Raheem Sterling running at our fullback, running at Pau Torres. Nicholas Jackson will be, on Konsa and Torres as well. Lots of movement. I think he's a very good player, Jackson. A player that Henry knows well from Villarreal. But I think Chelsea's an interesting one. We just have to make sure, and again, it's after Europe as well, isn't it? We get an experience we're not really used to, going from Thursday to Sunday. A tough away day at Warsaw, followed by another tough away day at a team in Chelsea who have a coach who's going to study Villa, look at what Liverpool did, look at what Newcastle did, and try and work out a way of damaging us. And if we play the high line, they have the players to get in behind us and hurt us, don't they? Particularly in Raheem Sterling, I think, and Malo Gusto as well out on the right. Looks like he's a player who's quite effective at pushing forward. So that's going to be a tough experience. But Chelsea, whilst I think they're underperforming, I think they're playing a bit better than their form is suggesting. At the same time, their defence can definitely be got at, and we have the players to do them all the damage in the world as well. And we beat them 2-0 last season. But I think Poch will study what Liverpool did with that press, where they made it really hard for us to play out from the back, and Chelsea will try and do the same. So it's interesting to know what Unai Emery is going to do after the Liverpool loss and the Newcastle loss, and figure out how can we play Chelsea and try and ensure that the weaknesses we had in the 2 losses we had away don't repeat themselves, particularly at Stamford Bridge. So an interesting one. Fully back Villa that we can do it, we can win it, but it will be a tough day. But look, let me know your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. Plenty more to come this week. It's been a very busy week. I've not really been out. I'm only just back home now, so I've not really been able to get onto stuff as much as I would like. But look, like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below, and up the mighty Villa.